Hello, my name's Stephen from K-Scale Models, and today I'm doing a bit of a different video. This is a spotlight on a model by the community, and it's also a bit of a tutorial. So let's get the spotlight out the way. The first bit is 40k bits, or 40k Gundam bits, by ScornMandark. This is basically just turning your Space Marines into Gundams, Zaku's, GMs, and a bunch of other things from the Universal Century timeline. So, interesting little model. Not the only one he does, this is just the free one. He does have a paid one over in Cults. He's got several that can turn your guys into Space Leos, or Talkies. So, this is something I'll probably do at a later date, but for now, because this one's aimed at someone who's just getting into 3D printing Gunpla, I'm going to stick with something free and easy to access. So, that's this. So, the next bit of this is the tutorial, and that's revolving around this. So, what has he done here? Why are these on sprues? Well, these have been done because he's also selling these as full kits on, well, Shapeways. I don't know if he's on Etsy, I'd have to double check that. But this will mean that if he's making them for Shapeways, like selling them, it keeps all the bits together, and Shapeways prefers you to do that so that they don't have a dozen different random bits lying around. So that's why this has been done. Now, fair enough, we're scale modelers, cutting bits off a sprue is not hard, we do it all the time. But it means that we're printing these in orientations that don't make sense or having to put in more supports than we really need to. So what I'm going to show you today is how to split these models apart so that you can print them individually and you don't have to print them in this orientation. So let's go into the file that I've got here. So I'm just going to go into GM Ground. So this is 3D Builder. So this is on all Windows-based PCs. If you're on a Mac, I'm sorry, I don't know the equivalent on Mac, but yeah, this is a very powerful tool. It will repair things like what it's doing now. I've checked, it doesn't really need repaired, it's just being itself. It always does that. But anyway, so now we're in, we can use this to start splitting the model up. So first thing I'm going to do is ungroup all the models. So I'm only wanting to just do, for demonstration purposes, the heads. So now I've just got the heads. You can see they're still their own thing because they're all attached at the bottom there. Well, if I go into edit and split, I get this coming up. So this tool lets you split a model, can let you split it at an angle, it can split at height, you can keep both ends, you can keep just the bottom, you can keep just the top. So this is very useful if you're trying to split things off. Now I'm just going to put it below the actual neck joint and hit split. Now I'm going to ungroup everything again, and I'm just going to hit shift, click on the first one, and then click on the bottom one, shift again, and hit delete. And now I've got one GM head. That's all I need for what I'm doing. I will be printing two of these out rather than just one, but you get the idea. So next bit on this would be just dumping it into, say, Chitu box. Now, from this, you would save it under save as an STL so that Chitterbox knows what it's talking about, because it normally defaults to 3MF, which is a different format that Chitterbox is not too happy with. So yeah, this is some of the ones I've made earlier. I've made more. There's Zaku's and other things. But one of the other things that I've decided for this is there isn't any weapons with this. They're all relying on the standard 40k bolter. And I think this is a bit of a missed opportunity. So I went and searched around Thingiverse and found this. This is the 6-tube rocket launcher from 8FM's team. So I'm going to be giving it to my Easy 8. So this guy here. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing. So I'll go and now show you what is the results of this. And we're back. So, a couple of things just to go over. These are all the models I've made. They've not been fully spray painted. This is more just so you can see them, because this is what the green resin looks like, and you cannot see details in this. And it's really hard for the camera to focus on it. So yeah, that's why I've just given them a quick base coat so you can see what you're getting. So let's start off with the sniper. So sniper head and new shoulders. Now, I didn't put the gun on them. The gun does come with this kit, so you can see it there. I'm planning on putting it on the base or having it standing, so yeah. That's my plan for this, and I'll explain more about why I did that in a minute. The next one is GM. So yeah, this is probably the most badass looking GM you will ever see. New head and the same shoulders as the sniper. This is another sort of Federation suit. I think it's a GM. I'm not entirely familiar with the line. But yeah, new head, same shoulders as the other two. Move on to the Easy 8. And it's got new shoulders. So these ones have got different lifting points. The Easy 8 head. And the rocket launcher. So this is the rocket launcher I found elsewhere, not part of the original set. So yeah, this is the sort of thing I think would be really interesting to do, is to, rather than have the standard bolter, like this guy, is to go and find the actual Gundam weapons and start chopping them up and putting them on. Now, he also comes with a shield, and that's it here. But I'm going to be putting it on the base. I'm not actually going to be putting it on them, because this model is quite heavy already, so I don't want to start having a top heavy model and disaster happens. Next one is the sort of full Gundam Head, the RX-78 sort of thing. Now, this is just a V-fin. As you can see, I've done a poor job of gluing it on. But yeah, that gives you an idea of what you get when you put it on a Primaris head. The last one is Char Zaku. So yeah, new shoulder armor and new head. So that's them. Now, as I said, I've got a whole bunch of bits left over, and these will go into the parts bin. But I'll go over a couple other bits before I go over, finish this up. First off, the hands. So when I was making this guy, this was like the last guy I made, and I realized I'd used all the good hands for the rest of them. And I cut up some of them, decided they didn't work, and I cut them up so badly I couldn't use them again. So when you're making these guys, work out which hands you're using. Now, 40k players are probably going, yes, yet you do that, but I'm not really built any 40k minis in years, so yeah. Also, some of those nubs that I was removing in the previous part of the video, they're still visible. It's more so visible on this guy, the Easy 8. So just remember to cut them down and sand them. So that's not really an issue. The last sort of issues all come around this Zaku. So the Zaku model, I think, is actually the weakest in sort of terms of build, but still looks pretty cool. So first off, this hand is terrible with a shoulder. Find a different shoulder or hand. The Zaku head doesn't actually fit in there properly. It doesn't actually connect to the base. So I've glued it in around the back of the helmet, where there's a sort of neck collar bit. So that's worked out quite well. So that's fine. And the final one is most these parts are actually fairly low poly. Now you don't notice them on, say, the shield or this head, but it is there. And the Zaku is unfortunately the one that gets the most flack for it. You can see here the shoulder armor is quite low poly. The head does kind of still have a low poly look, especially around that visor area. So I'll try to get it zoomed in. But yeah, you can see that there's actual steps. So yeah, that is a bit annoying. And the last one is the hand for this beam saber. That's not brilliant, that hand. I've actually cut off the bottom part of it. I'll just go and grab one from here. you can just twist some of these off. But anyway, so yeah, you do get a beam saber at the bottom of that hand. If it will actually, yeah. I also used the wrong hand when I was doing it because there's left and right hand, and I couldn't decide which one I wanted and ended up doing the wrong one. But anyway, but yeah, so there are low poly parts to the models. Now, if this is a deal breaker for like the head or the shoulder armor, go look up tutorials regarding Blender smoothing, because Blender can apply modifiers to objects such as smoothing, and this will mean that those rather low poly will turn into much more smooth or high poly looking items. So that's a tip I would say to go for next time. But for now, thank you for watching, and well, if this is a Charzaku Space Marine, does that make him Alpha Legion? I'll catch you next time.